and welcome to Ivy English. I'm Angela.
And I'm Wesley.
Today we are talking about monsters, specifically snow monsters that are not alive, but they look like they could be. We're talking about the towering snow monsters of Japan. I just realized I forgot to tell you that it is January 24th, and we're on page 66 of the magazine.
好，那我们今天这篇文章的中文标题啊，其实我们也是2天的文章啊，今天是第1天的。那我们的文章标题中文是雪怪军团来袭，藏王树冰。
So in northern Japan, apparently, we get these gigantic monsters that are really just trees covered with snow, but it looks so cool that people go to see them after snow falls. But I mean, looking at these pictures, I just think I would not want to be out in that landscape when the snow is falling. You would be just miserable.
所以其实各位可以去网络上面看看那个照片啊，有的人会觉得其实看起来有点恐怖。下雪的时候，如果是自己几个人在外面，你搞不好会觉得蛮恐怖的。
Yeah, you would turn into a snow monster yourself, basically. So yeah. Hey, let's read the article. In northern Japan, visitors may catch a glimpse of something otherworldly each winter. In the mountains of Yamagata and Miyagi Prefecture, trees transform into snow monsters during the coldest day of winter. While these snowy figures may not be actual monsters, the snow and ice that accumulate on the trees create some fascinating natural artwork. With a little imagination, it's easy to understand why these towering shapes are referred to as snow monsters. In Japanese, they are called juhyo, which means ice trees. The phenomenon usually occurs annually in Japan's Tohoku region, but it is very rare in other parts of the world. For snow monsters to take shape, temperatures have to remain around the freezing point. The wind must also continuously blow in a single direction. When it snows in these conditions, the snow will collect in large clumps and cover the tree branches. After the weather calms, an army of frozen white giants remains to spark the imagination of onlookers. One of the most famous places to witness this wonder is Mount Zhao, which hosts an annual festival to celebrate the snow monsters. The mountain also features a ski resort and natural hot springs. Visitors can observe the fantastic figures up close on hiking trails or take a cable car up the ski slopes to see the spectacular landscape from above. In some locations, multicolored lights are used to illuminate the snow monsters, making the imagery even more surreal. The best time to see the snow monsters is between January and March. Every year, thousands of people flock to the mountain to snap photos of this extraordinary winter wonderland. However, tourists should pay attention to weather reports to make sure the conditions are just right before hiking in the frigid mountain air, because that wind will get you. Wind is one of the worst things, and then freezing temperatures are the other. Between the two, you can lose your nose, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
好，所以如果天气很冷又有风的话，你搞不好鼻子会不见。
Yeah, because what happens is that your nose will lose temperature faster than your blood can replace it, which means it will freeze, which means it will turn into gangrene and fall off your face. So, you know, frostbite is not something you mess around with.
所以冻疮是很可怕、很危险的事情。因为我刚刚讲，如果天气太冷又有风的话，你鼻子又没有保暖的话，你的血液可能没办法来得及进入鼻子，最后就会那个鼻子就会产生冻疮，那你可能最后保不住了。
Like sometimes you can save them and sometimes you can't. Yeah. So, we're talking about snow monsters, though. So we're talking about in northern Japan because that's where the snow happens. I mean, snow happens throughout Japan except for in the maybe most southern islands. But, I mean, it's even snowed in Taiwan here. So it's not impossible that all of Japan may have been snowed on at least once. But northern Japan is where the snow happens regularly and a lot every year. And so visitors may catch a glimpse, catch a view, a short, quick view of something otherworldly, something that seems different than normal reality each winter.
好，所以呢，在日本北部 Northern Japan, visitors 就是游客 可能可以 catch a glimpse of. Glimpse 就是 a brief incomplete view or look. 所以通常讲 catch a glimpse of 就是一瞥，惊鸿一瞥，有看到，但是可能不是看的，没有办法看得非常仔细。所以他这里讲到呢，在日本北部，游客每年冬天都可能可以看到一些 something otherworldly. Otherworldly 就是超凡脱俗，另外类似的是 unworldly, unworldly, 就 not of this world。感觉起来就是在这个，因为我们发现这个地方世界上别的地方看不到，所以你在这里看到就觉得啊，这好像不是地球上的东西。所以这句话就告诉我们，这游客每年冬天呢都能看到一些超凡脱俗、很不寻常的一些景象。
So we're specifically talking about in the mountains of Yamagata and Miyagi Prefecture. Prefecture is the name of like county. It's the word that's equivalent to county in like Taiwan in English. How do you say county in Chinese?
县.
Right. So prefecture is basically 县. So in these places, Yamagata, which is an area, and Miyagi Prefecture, which is a whole county, trees transform into snow monsters during the coldest days of winter. Now, this sentence makes it sound like the trees become alive and covered with snow and chase people, and it's not exactly like that, but they seem to transform into snow monsters.
所以呢，在山形县或者是宫城县的山里面，所以 prefecture 就是县。那 trees 树会 transform into 会变形成为 snow monsters 雪怪。During the coldest days of winter, 在冬天最冷的时候呢，在这个山形县跟宫城县呢的山上，树会变成雪怪。
So while these snowy figures may not be actual monsters, because they're not actual monsters, the snow and ice that accumulate on the trees, if something accumulates, it layers on over time. So the snow and ice that just keeps getting put on the trees create some fascinating, super interesting natural artwork. So they turn these trees into sculptural objects. Although I think if you talk to the trees, they would prefer that this thing did not happen to them because it's got to be pretty hard on them.
没错。那我们看到这个句子，他说 While these snowy figures, 就虽然这个 while 就是虽然这些 snowy 就是带着雪的有雪的这些 figures 这些形体 may not be actual monsters, 他们也许不是真的怪物，但是呢 the snow and ice, 但是这个冰跟雪 that accumulate on the trees, 累积堆积在这些树上的这些冰跟雪 create, 他们会创作出来，会制造出一些 fascinating 迷人的这个 enchanting enchanting 或者是 captivating 迷人的 captivating 他们会创造出一些迷人的这个 natural artwork 就艺术作品，所以他们会创造出迷人的自然的这个艺术作品。
With a little imagination, looking at these trees, it's easy to understand why these towering shapes are referred to as or are called snow monsters.
那 with a little imagination 就是你只要用一点点想象力，那 it's easy 你就很容易的可以 understand 了解 why 为什么 these 这些 towering shapes towering 就是高耸的，我们题目里面有这个字 towering 高耸的屹立的 very tall 好像塔一样站在那边，所以这些这个高耸的 shapes 形体are referred to as to be referred to as 就是被称为被形容为，所以你只要有一点点想象力，你就可以了解为什么这些高耸的形体会被人家形容成为是雪怪 snow monsters.
So in Japanese, these snow monsters are called juhyo, which means ice trees, which is very straightforward as a description.
Yeah, 那在日文里面呢，这些被称为 juhyo， 我也不懂日文，如果念错大家包涵。
Yeah, please let us know.
那这个 which means 它的意思是什么呢？是 ice trees， 就是树冰。那或者我觉得这个翻成冰树应该也可以，因为 ice trees 它可能是 ice that looks like trees， 那就是树冰。如果是这个另外一种情况，那是冰树，是 ice 修饰 trees， 那就是冰树。不过我们在这里是把它翻成树冰。
And the phenomenon of these ice trees usually occurs annually every year in Japan's Tohoku region. But it is very rare in other parts of the world because you need a combination. Oh, we'll learn in a second.
Yeah， 那这个现象 phenomenon 就现象，这个现象呢 usually 通常 occurs 发生 annually 每年会发生，在哪里呢？在哪里发生呢？在日本的东北地区 Tohoku region 就是指日本的东北地区 But it is very rare 但是它非常罕见 in other parts of the world 在这个世界其他地方非常罕见，所以听起来就只有日本东北地区每年都会出现，别的地方都很少见。
So now I can finally explain to you how this happens. For snow monsters to take shape, for them to form, temperatures have to remain around the freezing point. So they can't get warmer and they can't get colder. It has to be around the freezing point. They have to stay there for a while.
好，所以 for snow monsters to take shape. Take shape 就是 form. Form 在这里当然是动词 F-O-R-M. 你要让这个雪怪要能够形成的话呢，如果要这样子让它们形成的话，那 temperatures 温度必须要 remain 必须要维持在 around the freezing point 大概是在这个冰点附近，所以不能太冷也不能太热 freezing point.
And the wind must also continuously blow in a single direction. Continuously means never stop. So it has to keep being at the point where water freezes, the temperature, and the wind has to keep blowing and only in one direction. Because if it blows in lots of different directions, it'll just blow the snow off the trees.
Yeah, 那这个风呢，必须也要怎么样 ？Continuously 就是持续的 blow， 风要持续的吹，而且是 in a single direction， 是朝单一方向吹。因为如果风的方向不一样的话，那雪就不会在树上堆积的这个样子。
So when it snows in these conditions, if you have these two specific conditions and it snows, the snow will collect. It will accumulate. It will stick around in large clumps, in large amounts, and cover the tree branches.
好，那当下雪 it snows， 雪是在这样的情况之下下下来，在这样的条件之下下下来 in these conditions 就是在这样的条件之下下下来，就是温度是维持在冰点左右，那风是朝另外持续的朝单一方向吹。那如果是这样的情况之下下雪的话呢， the snow 雪就 will collect 就会聚集 in large clumps， 就是一大团一大团的聚集 clump 就是团一团一团的，而且他们会 cover the tree branches 他们会覆盖住树枝。
And then after the weather calms, so after the storm is over, an army of frozen white giants remains. So the reason we're saying it's an army of, because it looks like a whole bunch of people dressed identically and ready to go somewhere. So it seems like an army. And they remain, they stand there after the storm calms down to spark the imagination of onlookers, to make people imagine things, to help them imagine things.
好，所以 after the weather calm 在这里是缓和的意思 not agitated 就是很缓和很平静。那当天气缓和下来之后呢， an army of frozen white giants 就是一大群的冰冻的白色巨人。那 army 在这里不一定是部队，当然它跟部队总是有关联。所谓的 army 它也用来指 a large number of 或者 a large group of people or things when organized for a specific cause or purpose.
Okay, yeah, that's yes.
Yeah, 那所以这个就是一个 army， 那当然常常就是个军队嘛。所以 an army of， 然后呢，刚刚 Angel 老师讲，因为到时候各位可以从网络上找照片，你就发现他们真的看起来，因为看起来就好像一些雪怪，一群雪怪在那边那种感觉。那他们都是怎么样 frozen 冰冻的白色的巨人，那他们就 remains 留下来。那为什么是留下来呢？因为风雪已经走了，那个暴风雪已经走了嘛，天气已经缓和下来，所以是感觉起来就留下了这些 frozen white giants。那留下来目的是要干嘛呢？ To 目的是要 spark the imagination 或者激发 spark 激发或者是触发 the imagination of onlookers。 onlookers 就是旁观者，所以留下来让旁观者可以看到之后就激发了他们的想象力。
So one of the most famous places to witness this wonder is Mount Zao, which hosts an annual festival to celebrate the snow monsters. And probably Mount Zao is one of the most reliable places for this phenomenon to exist, or they wouldn't dare have an annual festival about it, yeah?
Yeah.
Annual means every year.
所以呢 one of the most famous places 就是最有名的地方。做什么的最有名的地方呢？ one of the most famous places to witness this wonder。 这个 one of the most famous places 就最有名的地方 to 表示目的，你要做这件事情最有名的地方之一。做什么事情呢？ Witness this wonder， 那 wonder 就是奇观，你要 witness， 你要目睹这个奇观，最好的地方之一就是藏王山 Mount Zhao， 那 which 就指这个藏王山 hosts 举办一个 annual festival， 每年一度的庆典。 host 你可以 host a meeting， 你也可以 host a party， 你也可以 host a festival， 就是举办的意思，主办。所以他们会主办一个每年一度的 annual， 每年一度的这样的一个庆典来 celebrate the snow monsters。那 celebrate 当然你可以翻译成为庆祝这些雪怪，但 celebrate 其实有另外一个意思，就是歌颂，就是哇好棒啊，你看我们的这个雪怪多棒啊，好，那个也是 celebrate。 所以像这个美国很有名的诗人 Walt Whitman， 他最有名的那个草叶集一开始就 I celebrate myself。
Yes. Yes, and then you're like, okay, Walt Whitman, he's a little bit in love with himself. That's good, I guess.
Yeah. OK， 好，所以 celebrate 你也可以把它解释成为这个歌颂的意思。
The mountain also features a ski resort. A ski resort is like a park for skiers. And natural hot springs, which is a park for people who like to get into very hot water up to their neck.
所以这个 hot spring 就是所谓的温泉各位注意这个不是念成 hot spring 当然有的时候你在句子的语调或者是你可能第一次念或怎么样，你要强调那个 spring 的话，你可以念成 hot spring， 但是基本上这个词是念 hot spring， 它是个复合名词，前面是重音是在前面的。好，所以我们可以看到说这个 the mountain 这个山呢也 features 就是主打什么，有什么是它主要的特色，它主打一个 ski resort， 一个滑雪的度假场所。 resort 其实是个度假胜地，那 a ski resort 你可以翻成滑雪场，可是通常 a ski resort 常常会有住宿的地方，所以总之就是一个就是一个滑雪的度假的地方。
Yeah, I should explain, a resort is a place where you can live there and do activities there all within like a walled garden kind of space. Like it's an all amenities experience place. So a Disney resort means that you can enjoy Disney and live in Disney.
所以 resort 通常是表示你可以住在那个地方了。
But also experience things within like the park of it.
Yeah, 但是重点不是住在那里而已。
Yeah, that would be a hotel.
对，那你如果只住在那里，那就是 hotel。那它 resort 就是你可以住在那边，可以从事一些相关的活动，看看相关的一些风景等等的。
So a ski resort is specifically you live there and you can ski there and it's all included. Well, I mean, you of course pay extra for this and that, but yeah, it costs you an arm and a leg, which is why I've never done it. But I think it should be quite fun probably if you're a skier.
Yeah, 好，所以 a ski resort 通常就是一个滑雪的度假的地方。
So hot springs are not a resort. You could have a hot springs resort where you live there and also can go play in hot springs.
Oh, yeah.
Or you can just go to a hot springs and not stay there. Or you can go to a hot springs hotel, which is a place that you can live and have access to hot springs.
Yeah, 不过当然所谓 hot spring 就是这个温泉，所以你可以有一个温泉的这个 hot spring resort 可以，但是 hot spring 本身不是个 resort。好，所以呢这个山它也有一个滑雪的度假胜地，还有呢它有自然的温泉。
So visitors at this resort can observe the fantastic figures up close on hiking trails. So you can just walk through these trees on a trail, which honestly, I'm kind of excited about the idea. Or they can take a cable car up to the ski slopes. A cable car is literally a car hanging from a cable, like in Mujia, where you're just being pulled up a mountain and you're floating over the trees. And that also would be frankly, first of all, more comfortable experience and also cool because you're seeing it from the air and also less strenuous.
Yeah.
So it's a way to see the spectacular landscape from above. Spectacular means really amazing to look at.
因为 spect 这个字根就是看的意思。
Yeah.
所以不只看，它后面 spectacular 听起来就很夸张，就很好看spectacular.
Spectacular. It just sounds good. It's very crunchy.
Yeah. 好，所以我们可以看到他说 visitors 就是游客可以 observe 可以观赏 the fantastic figures 这些很神奇的这个非常诱人的非常吸引人的这些 figures 这些形体这个雪怪，而且是怎么看呢？是 up close 就是 very close 就是 being at very close range， 那所以很近的看，那是怎么样可以近的看呢？你可以看是 on hiking trails， 它有步道，所以你可以选择走步道，那你就可以很近距离的看这些雪怪。或者是你也可以 take a cable car 你可以坐缆车，我想大家都知道缆车，猫空缆车那个缆车 up 就往上坐，往哪里的上面呢？ up the ski slopes. Ski slopes 就是滑雪的坡道，所以顺着坡道坐缆车往上，这样子你就可以看到怎么样？看到 the spectacular landscape， 你可以看到那个壮丽的景观 ，landscape 就是景观，而且从哪里看呢 ？From above， 从上面看。
And in some locations, multicolored lights are used to illuminate, literally light up the snow monsters with color, making the imagery even more surreal, so making it look even cooler and weirder and fun.
Yeah, 那在某些地方，就某些地点 in some locations, multicolored lights 就是五颜六色的灯光 multicolored lights are used 被使用来干嘛呢 illuminate 照亮，也就是 light up the snow monsters， 所以它会用五颜六色的灯光来照亮这些雪怪，那这样就会怎么样 making the imagery 就使得这个景象 imagery even more surreal，更加的超现实 surreal 啊，因为你会觉得这个东西看起来好怪啊的，原来都是雪怪，然后在照了灯之后，哇，你感觉一切看起来更超现实。
So the best time to see these snow monsters is between January and March, the snowiest time of year. And every year, thousands of people flock to the mountain. If you flock to a place, you arrive in droves, you arrive in great numbers.And they flock to the mountain to snap photos, to take photos of this extraordinary winter wonderland.
好，所以呢 the best time to do something is between 各位可以学起来，所以在这里就是你要做这件事情最好的时间做什么事呢 see the snow monsters 好，你要看雪怪最好的时间是大概介于1月跟3月之间，然后呢每年数以千计的人 flock to， 所以 flock to 就是成群的涌向哪里？刚刚 Angela 老师用了一个 in droves, D-R-O-V-E-S. In drove 就是一群一群一大群一大群的。
Because flock and droves is all about huge amounts of sheep walking together. You have droves of sheep, you have flocks of sheep.
所以 flocks 跟这个 droves 都可以用来形容一群一群的羊，大群大群的羊。所以每年数以千计的人会涌向这个山。干嘛呢 ？Snap photos。以前我们学的讲 take pictures， 现在听起来 take pictures 感觉蛮老的。Snap photos 就是照相。
Because it's from the sound, it goes it's a snap. I mean, you used to literally press a lever down to move another lever inside. Like, you literally heard a snapping sound. What you hear now is a fake electronic approximation of that sound, okay?
Yeah. 现在大家用手机照相，有的时候也会有这种声音，咔嚓的一声，但是现在那个是假的。
It's just a fake thing to let you know. But like, they used to sound like that for real, but like more clearly, okay?
Yeah, 但以前的相机呢，是真的有那样的咔嚓一声，而且听起来比较响，比较跟真的，比较像真的啦。
And the camera would vibrate a little bit with the internal motion of the mechanism. I mean, because I didn't have good cameras, I had shitty cameras. But
那早期的相机，你按下去的时候，多少会影响你的手的震动啊，等等的，所以照片都会因此歪掉。总之这个 snap photos。Of this extraordinary 可以照这个很奇特的 winter 冬天的 wonderland 仙境。
However, tourists should pay attention to weather reports because like one day it might be fine and beautiful and the next day another one of the storms that creates the snow monsters might come through. So you should pay attention to weather reports to make sure the conditions are just right.Before exposing yourself to 4 hours in the mountains.
Yeah.
Before hiking in the frigid mountain air. Frigid means cold, like refrigeration, the frigid.
Yeah, extremely cold.
Yes.
Yeah. 但是呢，他建议这个游客 should pay attention to weather reports. 你要注意天气预报，你才能 make sure, 你才能确认说 the conditions are just right. 所有的条件呢都正好。are just right 正好很合适，在什么之前就要做这件事情呢 Before hiking in the rigid mountain air 你在那个冰冷的非常冷的山上的空气中间你要 hiking 你要在那里爬的时候呢，要在寒冷的山区徒步旅行之前，你要先看看气象报告。
So that's the first half of this article.There's more to come, so please join us again tomorrow for more about the snow monsters of Japan on Ivy. See you then. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.